Enjoy your meeting. Just a reminder, today's meeting is being recorded.
Hello, and welcome to the first ever Virtual Business Toolbox presented by the Women Entrepreneurs Organization, or WEO, of Southwest Washington. This series is designed to share the new skills and information of interest to women entrepreneurs gained by the recipients of WEO's Scholarship Fund. I'm Ronnie Noyes, your host, and today it is my pleasure to welcome our very first guest, who also happens to be WEO's Technology Chair, Mary Berger of ComputerDiva. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you, Ronnie. It's so good to be here.
I'm really delighted that you're going to share a bunch of information with us today. But first, can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Oh, I'm happy to. My company is called ComputerDiva, and it was established in January of 2008. I work with small businesses such as accountants, real estate agents, marketing firms, insurance agencies, and landscapers, amongst others. I also work with individuals to assist them with technology buying decisions, as well as maintaining their current computers, tablets, and smartphones.
Excellent. So now, Mary, what is it you're going to share with us today?
Well, last October, I was the recipient of a WEO scholarship, and I was thrilled about that. I took an online 2-day seminar given by a gentleman called Ken Dwight, who is also known as the Virus Doctor. The seminar was called Virus Remediation Training, and it is designed to teach IT professionals how to identify and remove malware. Ken is an expert in this field, and I really learned a lot from the seminar. One of the things I learned was I received validation that the methods I have been using to clean up malware are correct and spot on. I also learned a few new tricks to streamline the process. In the past 8 years that I've owned my business, I feel I've become an expert at rooting out malware from computers. The most common question I get from my clients is, where does malware come from? So first, before I get into that, let's just define a few terms. I'm going to use the word malware throughout this presentation to encompass one or a combination of the following things. Virus. A virus is something that spreads from one PC to another and usually has some sort of damaging aspect to it. Then there's a worm, and a worm is something that does damage along the way. Worms can also deposit damaging files on your computer, and they kind of worm their way through your system, which is why they're called a worm. Then there's the Trojan horse. This usually is downloaded by the user without their knowledge. It's called a Trojan horse because it usually packs a damaging payload. The next term is called adware, which comes in the form of banner ads on websites, pop-ups, free versions of programs with advertising. Adware is not necessarily damaging, it's just annoying.
You got that right.
Yeah. Then we have spyware. Spyware monitors what the user is doing and sells the information to advertisers.
You know, I understand that spyware thing, but Mary, I'm stumped by the rest of this. Who creates malware?
Oh, that's a great question, Ronnie. So there's several different sources of malware creation. A very small percentage comes from bored programmers. They find themselves with nothing to do, so they start writing malware programs. They also want to prove to themselves that they have the capability to write one. The second source would come from rogue security software vendors who are trying to push their malware out to make money. They have called their products in the past Total Security, Antivirus 2008, XP Antivirus, Windows Recovery, Win 7 Internet Security, and hundreds of variants. You will usually see these on your system as pop-up windows claiming that your computer is infected and then call 1-800 blah, blah, blah to have it professionally cleaned. They will then get your credit card info because they will not clean it for free. They will also convince you to allow them into your system to clean it up. Once they get into your system, that's when the damaging stuff happens. They'll install really nasty malware behind the scenes. The next source is probably the most common source of malware, and it's probably 99% of the malware that exists in the world comes from organized crime, usually originating from Eastern Europe. This is one of the largest sources of malware, and they make big money off of it. These are the ones that are putting keyloggers on your system. A keylogger is designed to track your keystrokes. So if you log into your banking site, a keylogger now has your login and password information, and the keylogger transmits it back to another computer. Now the bad guys have access to your bank account, and this is why you're seeing a lot of companies employ what is called two-factor authentication on their websites. This means that there are two ways to authenticate who you are. It is based on the computer you are using. For instance, you first log in with your login and password, and then you're sent a text message with a digital code that you need to type into a field to get you into the website. The last source from malware, we're finding now that it's foreign governments. They're trying to get into your computers. However, they are the ones who are most interested in large corporations and government entities than you and I.
This is horrifying, Mary, absolutely terrifying. So how are people making money? Yeah, it's disgusting. And I've been hearing a lot about the keylogger thing lately too. But I'm wondering, how are people making money through malware?
Ronnie, there's several different ways that they can make money. One of the first ways is harvesting and stealing email addresses. The email address lists are then sold to companies for big bucks. Of course, identity theft is one of those. They will get all that information and just take over who you are, and then you're toast. Credit card and bank fraud is another way. The fourth way would be corporate and industrial espionage. They're also trying to steal gaming treasures and weapons, which can go for big bucks on the open market. One of the ways that I see a lot of to make money is called extortion to access encrypted files. Like I said, I've seen a lot of this in the past few years. One of the common names for it is called CryptoLocker. Basically, your computer is frozen on a screen telling you that in order to get back into your computer, you have to go to the local drugstore and purchase a particular type of money card. They start out at about $300. You then have to type the number of the money card into a field on the screen, and they give you 72 hours to do this. And after 72 hours, if you don't pay it, the ransom goes up to $1,000 or higher. They give you another 72 hours to pay that $1,000, and if you don't, they'll encrypt all of your files. And from what I've seen in my experience, once these files are encrypted, there's no way you're going to get them back. So it's real important to, number one, keep a good backup of all your data, and number two, protect your computer.
Oh, no kidding. This is just horrifying. Gosh, so how does this malware even get into your computer in the first place?
There's a lot of different ways, Ronnie. One of the first ways, and it's been around ever since computers and email has been around, is email attachments. It's really important to never open an attachment unless you know who sent the attachment. And if it just does not look right or feel right to you, call the sender and ask if they sent the attachment. Another way is through an infected website, with or without the user clicking on anything. The big thing right now is infected ads on websites. Clicking on them can download malware onto your computer, and there's no way of knowing which ads are infected. A third method is through infected links in instant messaging programs or emails. Never click on any links in either of those programs, and it's always best to open a browser and type the address in manually. Infected links in social networking sites, that would be another way. Many of the games themselves on social networking, such as Facebook, are actually malware. I have seen countless computers infected from these games. Also, all of those surveys on Facebook, such as what famous movie character are you or what color is your aura, all are designed to take you to sites that are confusing and filled with ads. Another method is across a local area network in an office. If a virus or a malware or a worm gets on one computer, it can quickly travel to the other computers. And of course, then there's the old sources from a thumb drive or an external drive. If somebody gives you one of those, be very careful what you click on once you put those into your computer. And then one of the most common ways is from software you download yourself. So one of the first things, and I see this on computers all the time, is the weather bug. A lot of people like to show the weather on their screen, so they'll download WeatherBug. And when WeatherBug starts installing on your system, you're going to see here on the screen, here's a typical install screen. It also says, hey, we also want to install the search app by Ask. And it's going to then embed the Ask search toolbar into your browser, and it's going to start tracking everything you do everywhere you go on the internet. You notice there's a little box down at the bottom to uncheck. You always want to opt out of that. Then the next screen I want to show you would be a typical Java setup screen. If you have Java on your system, which is a small plugin that allows websites to display information in certain ways, Java is continually updating itself. And the reason it does that is because Java is everywhere. It's in most of your cell phones, your computers, appliances, and your cars. I mean, it's just everywhere. So the hackers and the bad guys of the world have figured out lots of ways to exploit Java. And once Java figures this out, they send out updates. So in one of the install screens for the Java setup, they always offer to add something extra onto your computer. It could be the search app by Ask, which is one of the most common, or it could be a McAfee antivirus scanning software, which also is malware. Always uncheck the box. You can see on this screen, add the search app by Ask, uncheck that box.
I'm just going to circle that so we can see.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So the third one that I wanted to show you, the third example, is any of the Adobe products. Adobe itself is always coming up with updates for their software. This one is the Adobe Reader, which allows you to read PDF files on your computer. The very first screen, whenever you update Adobe, always has that optional offer right in the center. And you can see from this one, they want to install the McAfee Security Scan Plus. McAfee Security Scan Plus is nothing but malware. So you always want to uncheck that box. The reason these companies are pushing these out is because they get paid big money to push this software onto your computer. So you want to just be very diligent and don't allow them to. Now, the last example I want to show you is called Driver Update Setup. For whatever reason, I see a lot of computers who have this software installed. For whatever reason, the user thought that they needed to update their drivers, so they search on the internet for software that will help them do that. This one is a little bit more cryptic. There's not a box to uncheck. You see here it wants to install Slim Cleaner, which you don't need on your computer at all. Instead, what they've done is they've got either accept and install or decline. Always choose decline when you run into something like this. Good job, Ronnie. Okay.
Well, this is just so important. I'm so glad to hear from this because all of those things that you just showed us, Mary, look so legitimate. And so I'm so glad that you have just shared that. And it looks like you have got a ton of other ways that malware gets on your computer.
Yeah. I've been working in this industry for a long time, and I've developed a theory on another way that malware gets onto your computer, and it's a very non-traditional theory. I've worked with enough customers to see these patterns emerge. In order to explain my theory, though, I'm going to dive a little bit into the theory of energy. Everything on this planet is made up of energy in different forms. The human body, plants, animals, solid objects such as tables and chairs, all are made up of energy. Energy also carries with it a vibrational frequency. That includes us as humans. Everything vibrates at different speeds. When you look at an object, it appears solid, but it is made up of millions of subatomic particles, all moving at different speeds. You just can't see it. The vibrational frequencies all have different levels, ranging from low to high. Our thoughts and emotions also carry vibrational frequencies. The more negative the thought, the lower the vibrational frequency it carries. And on the flip side, the more positive the thought, the higher the vibrational frequency. Many of us have heard that thoughts we think and put out into the world are what we attract back to us. For instance, you wake up tired, you get out of bed and you stub your toe, and you just know it's going to be a lousy day. You have put the thought out there that your day is going to be lousy, and therefore it is. You're attracting low vibrational energies back to you. On the other hand, you wake up feeling refreshed, you see a beautiful sunrise, and you declare that today will be a wonderful day. I can guarantee you that your day is going to indeed be wonderful as long as you keep your thoughts positive. You are attracting high vibrational energies back to you. So this is kind of where my theory comes into play. The people creating the malware are doing it for malicious purposes and to steal your money, bottom line. The thoughts and emotions used to create the malware carry a very low vibrational frequency. Therefore, the malware also carries a low vibrational frequency. It is sent out into the computer world, waiting to attack your computer. So now we have all this malware out there, vibrating at a low frequency. Now, picture someone who has had a bad day, sitting down in front of their computer. This person is throwing out some very low vibrational energy, which in turn is attracting the low vibrational energy back to them. The energy of the person is attracting the energy of the malware, which slips into the computer and creates a mess. Like I said earlier, this is a very unconventional theory, but I've seen it happen over and over again. A client will call me to come clean the malware off their computer, and they insist they have no idea where it came from or how it got onto their computer. They did not click on anything, open any attachments, or go to any suspicious websites or install any software, yet their computer is infected. I have worked with enough people to be able to sense their energy level the minute I walk into their home or office. I can usually sense right away if the malware got onto their computer in the traditional methods or if it was attracted onto their computer. No matter how the malware got onto the computer, it is dangerous and needs to be cleaned up.
Well, now let's talk about cleaning this stuff up. As the ComputerDiva, what do you use to clean malware?
I use a variety of tools to clean malware off computers. I use a set of software tools that include a product called Malwarebytes, Hitman Pro, Kaspersky TDSS Killer, are just a few of the ones I use. A lot of malware will attach itself to your internet browser, such as Internet Explorer, Chrome, or Firefox. We saw that earlier in that screenshot with the Ask toolbar. It's always best to clean out all the browsers on the computer. Each browser has a different method. Additionally, each browser has a way to be set back to factory defaults, which removes the malware. Oftentimes, the computer is highly infected, which requires us to boot the computer into what is called safe mode to run these programs. Safe mode basically loads minimal drivers at boot time and software in order to allow you to troubleshoot issues. Many times, malware cannot run on a computer in safe mode. That allows me to root them out and really get rid of them. Then you kind of have your cases where, sometimes it's best to determine the actual day that the malware got onto the system, and you can do a system restore to try and get rid of that malware. Most computers create restore points automatically at regular intervals. However, sometimes malware is designed to disable the creation of restore points. On really rare occasions, and I'm saying it doesn't happen all that often, I've had to wipe the computer clean of all software and data, reload the operating system, and all programs. This is where I pray the client had a recent backup of their data.
Yeah. So let's talk about some non-traditional methods.
I have a couple of non-traditional methods that I use, and the first method, if a computer has been infected with malware, it is vibrating at a low frequency level. The computer itself is. Therefore, I have to somehow raise the vibrational frequency of the computer. I do this in a few ways. The first way is I ground myself. I do this by placing my feet flat on the floor and draw energy up from the earth. You can feel it instantly. The minute you place your feet flat on the floor and concentrate on your feet, you can feel the energy coming up from the earth. The energy drawn in from the earth is a very high vibrational energy. I let it travel up into my body, down my arms, and out into my hands. I am literally drawing high vibrational energy from the earth and passing it into the computer. At the same time, I'm keeping my thoughts and emotions very positive. I don't want to do anything to change the vibrational frequency of the energy I'm passing into the computer.
You know, Mary, anybody who is used to meditation is actually doing a grounding as they begin meditation. So this is so they already know how to do this, so they can just do it now at their computer.
Exactly. Just laying your hands on the keyboard, drawing that positive energy up and letting it flow out your fingertips right into the computer, that's going to raise the vibrational frequency of your computer. And I'm telling you, Ronnie, it does wonders.
Excellent. Now, I'm really excited about this next thing.
The next thing, yes. I use Sodalite crystals to absorb the low vibrational energy. Crystals all have different healing properties. Sodalite has a strong vibration and is used to soak up electromagnetic smog. In other words, low vibrational energy. I keep a Sodalite stone near all my computers. I truly believe that the Sodalite stone will also act as a protective barrier between a user with low vibrational energy and the computer, protecting the computer from the energy of the user. I usually rinse the stones every few weeks with cold running water to flush out all the toxins absorbed, dry them off, and place them on or near the computer.
Now, Mary, you say them. So how many stones do you use? And kind of how big are they? I can't really tell from the picture. Are they like little teeny tokens, or?
The stones are usually about an inch round, so they're kind of small. They can come in larger sizes. They come in all sorts of different shapes. You can get either polished stones like the one you see in the picture, or you can get raw, unpolished stones, which are usually slightly bigger. I usually keep one on each of my computers, and if I'm dealing with a client where, say, they might have a server in their office, or we might have some particularly nasty issues happening, I might place 2 or 3 stones sitting right on top of the computer or server. So it all depends on the degree of the energy that's kind of swirling around the computer.
So thank you for that. Now, how about a few? Oh, my! So you have a slide for this. I was just about to ask you for some tips.
Okay. Yeah, I have some quick tips that you can all follow to kind of keep your computer running clean. Number one, never click on attachments and emails, as I said before. Always use a strong internet security product on your computer. Most people have some sort of internet security or antivirus software running on their computer. Rare occasions I've seen a computer where they have nothing running, and that's really kind of the kiss of death to a computer. The product I really like to use is called Kaspersky Internet Security. I think it's one of the strongest products out there and does a fabulous job. Other good products that I would recommend would be the Norton products. Norton is always good. And Trend Micro, in my feeling, also has an excellent product. Another tip for you is free software is never free. It usually comes with a payload of malware. When installing any software, check each screen to make sure that additional software is not being installed. Most of them will tell you what they are going to install and then give you a chance to opt out, just like those screens I showed you earlier. And then, unless you know what you are doing, do not try to clean the malware yourself. Leave it to the experts.
I imagine that there are a few really funny stories you could tell us about people who've tried to do it themselves.
Absolutely. So we won't get into those here, though.
Yeah, exactly. That was fantastic information. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise so generously today and your wonderful tips. That's been great. Now, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up? Oh, absolutely. What we've been talking about today is a huge issue.
So if anyone needs info or assistance, just visit my website at www.computerdiva.biz. I'm always happy to assist. Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Thank you, Mary. And thanks to our listeners for joining WIO's Virtual Business Toolbox today. For more information on the Women Entrepreneurs Organization of Southwest Washington, please visit our website at www.wiowa.org. This is Ronnie Noyes with Mary Berger signing off. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.